Good afternoon. A new football season has kicked off at a furious pace. Games coming thick and fast. Final score will chart the closing stages of all this afternoon's matches. And Gavin, Peacock, Mark Bright and Garth Crooks moved well in pre-season training. Pity it was in reverse gear. They're watching the Barclays Premier League games that are underway. One result already in. Portsmouth 3, Bolton 1. More details on the way after the latest news on the game still in progress. Everton travel to Reading in search of a third straight win. Adam Parsons reporting.
It's Reading 1, Everton 0. Everton coming here hoping to consolidate their position at the top of the table. Hasn't worked out that way though. Defence is on top for most of this game, and Stephen Hunt gave Reading the lead a minute before half-time. Everton have searched and searched for an equaliser, but nothing so far. Reading 1, Everton 0.
100% record in threat. Birmingham were moments away from their first win in Wednesday's home game with Sunderland before conceding a late equaliser. West Ham arrived at St Andrews looking for their first point or points of the season. Roger Johnson reporting.
It's 0-0, but Mark Noble has a great chance to give West Ham the lead here. They have a penalty at St Andrews after Craig Bellamy was pulled down by the goalkeeper Colin Doyle. The Hammers have shaded it here. Noble hit a post in the first half with a free kick. And now Mark Halsey, the referee, is just lining up this penalty. It'll be Noble against Doyle from 12 yards. Birmingham have only forced one save from Rob Green in the game so far. That came in first half stoppage time when Radi Jahidi's shot on the turn was parried away. West Ham on top since the restart, now have the chance to get themselves on the way to their first points of the season. Here comes Noble and scores. West Ham are ahead. It's Birmingham 0, Mark Noble and West Ham 1.
4 points from 6 promoted Sunderland ahead of an away game at Wigan. Richard Askham reporting.
They're losing by 3 goals to nil, Ray. Wigan 3, Sunderland 0. Wigan fluent in midfield, potent in attack, fully merit this scoreline. Heskey in the first half, then Lanzad and Sibierski from the spot in the second. The goal scorers. Jason Kumas has been hugely influential in midfield. Wigan well on top.
Looks like Gretna are going to their third consecutive defeat. Looks like Norwich might be getting a win. They've taken the lead 2-1 at home to Southampton. Jamie Curitan on 71 minutes. Southampton have had a poor start to the season. After the defeats last Saturday and then on Tuesday, Tottenham fans expecting nothing less than a victory from a home game of promoted Derby. Ivan Gaskell's at White Hart Lane. It's 3-0 at White Hart Lane. We'll get you more details from the lane as soon as is possible. Fulham got off the mark with a midweek win at Craven Cottage. Another home game today against Middlesbrough, who've played 2, lost 2. Story of the game so far from Mark Bishop.
Still Fulham 1, Middlesbrough 1, Ray. Substitute Ali Dare put the ball into the back of the Fulham net just 2 minutes ago. The goal, though, rightly disallowed by Andy Durso as the striker adjudged to have fouled Konchesky. Brian McBride's close-range effort, remember, cancelled out by Mido on his debut for Borough. The softest of goals, an innocuous shot fumbled into his own net by Tony Warner. 1 apiece at Craven Cottage.
2 of the promoted teams into the Championship are playing this afternoon at Bloomfield Road, and it's Blackpool 1, Bristol City have equalised through Scott Murray with 15 minutes to go. Blackpool 1, Bristol City 1. Still time for scorelines to change around the country between now and final whistles. The Portsmouth-Bolton match finished 2 hours ago. Simon Brotherson watched the game at Fratton Park.
Portsmouth unbeaten, now have their first win of the season. Bolton still to secure a single point. John Utaka provided the highlight of the game with a wonderful individual goal after half an hour. It took him half the length of the field and it put Portsmouth 2-1 up. Kanu having equalised Nicholas Anelka's early effort for Bolton, which slipped through David James's legs. Bolton had plenty of the play in the second half, but they couldn't make it count. And with 3 minutes left, the final outcome was decided when Sid upended Kanu and Matthew Taylor scored from the resultant penalty kick. A good result for Portsmouth, particularly with Chelsea, Arsenal and Liverpool next up. But Sammy Lee still looks for his first win as Bolton's manager.
Yeah, 3 straight defeats for Bolton. And you didn't like the look of Nicholas Anelka's body language, Garth?
Well, I just think that with Bolton doing so badly in terms of results and performance, that Nicholas Anelka may well, with a few weeks left to the transfer window, might think, and he has the record for saying, I'm off here, I don't fancy this at all. So Sammy Lee has got to manage that situation, not just his team, but that particular situation as well, because I think he's a top-class striker.
Overreaction to start posing questions about Sammy Lee at Bolton?
Yeah, you've got to give him a bit of time. He wants to impose his personality on a Bolton side that have been very much marked by a huge personality in Sam Allardyce and a way of playing. So he's got to be given a little bit of time. Having said that, Ray, 3 straight defeats in the Premiership, is a cause for concern.
Are Everton going to save the day at Reading?
Well, they've got a chance because there's 2 injuries. Shorey's gone off and Sol's gone off as well. Hunt's just coming off, so they haven't really created a lot of chances. And Ichibi's gone off up front for Everton. Andy Johnson seems to be just working hard on his own, and they're just 1-0 up Reading.
Let's go to White Hart Lane. Ivan Gaskell for details on the first win of the season for Spurs.
Yes, 12 minutes away from it, but you're right, very short odds on that happening. 3-0 up they are after their nightmare start to the season. Spurs with a dream start to this particular game. 3 up in 15 minutes. Steed Mulbronk twice, his first goal since New Year's Day, believe it or not. There's another attempt as I speak. Chimbonda, the goalkeeper's down. It looks like the goal's been given. Chimbonda's original header, and it may well go down to him. Not quite sure what happened to Bywater in the Derby goal. They're all congratulating Chimbonda, and that, I think, is 4-0. The Derby defence early in this game act as if they weren't there, and they weren't again there. It's come off Chimbonda and McKevley, I think, looking at that. It's gone off the bar and then gone in off, I think, the substitute, Defoe. There we are. I think I've cleared it up. 4-0.
Somewhat of an overreaction then for all the Tottenham fans to get so excited about 2 defeats.
Well, I think Darren Bent will be quite excited because I think he got the final touch in that particular instance. Yeah. But I think in terms of Spurs, they'll be quite relieved because if they'd have lost today, the pressure would have actually rocketed. They've won clearly. The performance, all right. Derby have been shocking.
To Scotland, ahead of their vital trip to Belgrade for the second leg of their Champions League qualifier. Rangers are playing for a league game against Falkirk this afternoon, aiming to make it 3 league wins out of 3. Ian Turner reporting.
I think they're going to now, Ray. This really has been a fine game. Rangers 4-2 up. We've had a couple of goals in the last 3 minutes. Chris Boyd, a substitute, just on, swivelled in the box, made it 4-2 for Rangers. Just before that, Falkirk substitute Graham Barrett, the former Coventry player, made it 3-2. And Daniel Couzans had a couple of goals. Stephen Whittaker also for Rangers, and Arno Riera with a beauty for Falkirk. 4-2.
2 other Clydesdale Bank Premier League sides kicked off with 2 wins out of 2. One of them is Hibs. They're playing away at Dundee United. Brian McLaughlin reporting.
12 minutes left for play race. Still Dundee United 0, Hibs 0. Amazing chances at both ends though. For United, Barry Robson with a free kick 25 yards out, shaped to cross but went for goal instead. Makalambi scrambling across his line to save, whilst Lee Wilkie deflected a Brian Kerr cross onto his own crossbar with the keeper nowhere to be seen. We have 12 minutes left for play. Dundee United 0, Hibs 0.
Motherwell, the other team that had 100% record there, 1-1 so far this afternoon. Celtic play tomorrow away at Aberdeen. It's a Premiership fixture last year. Both clubs have designs on a quick return to the top flight. David Garrido's watching the Championship match between Watford and Sheffield United.
Watford 1, Sheffield United 0, Ray. Watford good value for that lead. A goal coming from Lee Williamson's right foot volley on 55 minutes. Henderson should have scored twice after that. For United, Tongs had one effort tipped over just a few moments ago, and then his free kick wriggled out of Mark Poom's hands. It was rolling goalwards, but Tommy Smith cleared off the line. Watford still lead then by a goal to 0.
West Bromwich Albion lost last Saturday. Preston drew, then were dumped out of the Carling Cup by League Two Morecambe in midweek. Steve Lee's got the latest from the Hawthorns.
Is now West Brom 2, Preston 0. 2 goals in 6 minutes have really put the skids under Preston after a pretty ineffectual first half. West Brom have really come good in the second half. The first goal made by James Morrison, the cross was perfect. Kevin Phillips with the header. And then 6 minutes later, Ishmael Miller, the 20-year-old on loan from Man City, well, a real powerhouse of the goalie, absolutely shrugged aside Yao Mawini and got the goal. 2-0 West Brom.
Gretna equalised away at Hearts, might be getting their first point of the season. Hartlepool lost last week, promoted up into League One. Could be getting 3 points this afternoon. They lead Doncaster by 2-1 late in the game. Chesterfield have equalised at home to Stockport. Chesterfield relegated at the end of last season. Jack Lester with 11 minutes to go. Chesterfield 1, Stockport 1. Back to the Championship, 4-1 away win. Great opening Saturday result for Coventry. Hull lost at home. Alan Biggs is following this afternoon's match.
A bit of a struggle for Coventry. It's one apiece, Ray. A tale of 2 headers in the second half. Leon McKenzie putting Coventry in front. Nicky Barmby equalising for Hull. Never noted for his aerial work, Barmby, but a terrific header at the near post. Since then, Hull have had Sam Ricketts sent off for a second booking, and they're hanging on now with 10 men. It's one apiece here.
Still time for scorelines to change. Contrasting results for Crystal Palace and Leicester last Saturday. Palace won away, Leicester lost at home. Andy Barwell's watching at Selhurst Park.
Well, it's one apiece here, a somewhat subdued Palace crowd as well. Stuart Green from a free kick had given their side the advantage. Levelled up by a real poacher's goal from DJ Campbell for Leicester in this second half. Palace have just thrown on attackers Shefty Kuchi and Dougie Freedman, but Leicester look more likely to snatch this on a speedy counter-attack. It's Palace 1, Leicester 1.
7 straight wins for Plymouth, 5 at the end of last season, then last Saturday, then a Carling Cup success in midweek. Home game with Ipswich this afternoon, but a big shock for Plymouth before the game started. Hamish Marshall reporting.
Yes, indeed, and a shock when the game did start as well. Firstly, manager Ian Holloway's missed the game after being taken to hospital as a precaution before kick-off. He was suffering from a discomfort. We're told it's not serious. His team are really chasing this match now, though, because Ipswich are facing the last 20 minutes with 10 men as they try to hold on to the early lead courtesy of Alan Lee's header. Substitute Fabian Wilness was sent off just 4 minutes after coming on for a rash challenge on David Norris. That's now 3 times in his career he's been sent off against Plymouth, but Ipswich are holding on.
2 of the clubs promoted up into the Championship are playing each other. Bristol City drew at home last week. Great away win for Blackpool. And Bloomfield Road this afternoon. It's Ian Winter. Is it rocking?
It is rocking, Ray. Blackpool 1, Bristol City 1. A lively affair between 2 evenly matched teams who've got more adventurous as the game has gone on. Andy Morrell put Blackpool in front soon after half-time, but it looks as if they've been denied their 13th consecutive win by Scott Murray, who scored the equaliser with 15 minutes left. It's 1-1 here.
Draw at Charlton was a good start for promoted Scunthorpe, beating West Bromwich Albion. Great opening day result for Burnley. Andrew James can tell us how the 2 teams are performing today.
Ray, it's Scunthorpe 2, Burnley 0, and Scunthorpe really continuing where they left off as Division 1 champions last season. They started poorly today. Burnley will now regret not taking the opportunities they had in the opening 15 minutes of the game. The goals from Patterson and Goodwin have put Scunthorpe, though, firmly in control now. Scunthorpe 2, Burnley 0.
4-1 home defeat, followed by a Carling Cup exit at the hands of League 2 Peterborough. That was Southampton's start of the season when they ran out to play at Norwich. Harry Gratian reporting.
Complete change around here. 2 splendid goals, Ray, from Jamie Curitan on 61 and 70 minutes have upended what was for an hour an impressive Southampton performance. Kenwyn Jones scored for Southampton on 36 minutes and they should have scored more, but City sprang into life on 61 minutes. Curitan now 4 goals in a week.
Aldershot 3, Droylsden 1 is a Blue Square Premiership match this afternoon. Droylsden promoted up into the top flight, but 3-1 down away at Aldershot. Alloa pulled a goal back at Wraith. Wraith 2, Alloa 1. There have been reports this week of a takeover at Queen's Park Rangers, and that Cardiff City were being pursued by a major creditor. Reports the Welsh club have strongly denied. Leaving aside balance sheets, Nigel Bidmead can tell us about the score sheet.
Queen's Park Rangers 0, Cardiff City 2. Stephen McLean on the half hour, and then on the hour, Paul Parry with a powerful close-range header. Rangers did hit the post straight after half-time, but it's the visitors who are heading for their first points of the season.
After recording their highest league finish ever last season, Colchester kicked off this season with a point away at Sheffield United. Barnsley lost 4-1 at home. Chris Legg reporting.
As you join me, Barnsley are just about to take their second penalty of the game. It's Brian Howard again. He gave Barnsley the lead early on when Dean Gherkin was sent off for a foul on Coyote Odujayi. Now he has a chance to level matters for Barnsley, and he's hammered it past replacement keeper Mark Cousins. It's a deserved lead for Barnsley. They've played well since they lost their skipper Paul Reed for a foul on Teddy Sheringham. Colchester 2, Barnsley 1 in the closing. Colchester 2, Barnsley 2 in the closing stages here.
After losing at home, that could be a valuable point for Barnsley. In League 1, 2 teams relegated out of the Championship are playing each other. First home game of the season for Leeds United. After last Saturday's win, their 15-point deduction went down to 12. Is it going down to a single figure? Steve Sutton's at Elland Road.
It could well be, Ray. They still lead by 1-0. Never comfortable at 1-0, but this is as comfortable as it probably can get with that scoreline. The goal in the 2nd minute of the first half, and Alan Thompson free kick. He very nearly repeated that in the second half, but the keeper this time saving at the foot of the post. Southend have hit a post, but Leeds are in control. They lead 1-0.
And there's still time for scorelines to change. We're following all the games here on Final Score till the final whistles sound. Last Saturday was a landmark day for 2 football clubs who made their Football League debuts. Morecambe had a home game and had to delay the kick-off to get everybody in. Today it's the turn of Dagenham and Redbridge who are playing Wickham. John Driscoll reporting.
And they're leading by 2-1. It had been looking comfortable, but no longer. Sam Slomer got their famous first goal as a Football League club at home, and at that point they really did deserve it. They doubled their lead through Chris Moore, but back came Wycombe Wanderers. Matt Bloomfield with a close-range header, and Dagenham and Redbridge's first league points are far from secure.
Still time for goals to be scored, and there's been a goal in the Plymouth-Ipswich game. Hamish Marshall.
Yes, it's a goal for the home side. They're back on terms. It was a penalty slotted home by Sylvan Ebanks-Blake. A good low penalty. It came after Wright had pushed Peter Halmosi. We're 1-1 here.
Let's go to the Reading-Everton match for an update. Adam Parsons, are Everton going to save this?
It's still Reading 1, Everton 0, but it's kitchen sink time for Everton. The catalyst for it all, James McFadden, who's come on. One time he had a great chance and decided to dive instead of shoot. Then he curled one that hit the bar. The follow-up, Andy Johnson put against the post, but it's still 1-0 to Reading.
Goal at Selhurst Park, Andy Barwell.
The goal with 3 minutes to go has gone to Leicester City, gone to their Australian international defender, Patrick Kisnorbo. The Foxes scoring again from a corner kick. A free header for Kisnorbo. He made no mistake. Palace 1, Leicester 2.
What a goal for Leicester and Martin Allen after their start to the season. Wigan against Sunderland, Richard Askham.
Still Wigan 3, Sunderland 0, Ray. It may be 3-0, but I tell you what, it'd be more without Craig Gordon. He's just pulled off another brilliant save, tipping away Kumas's deflected cross-come shot. Heskey and Sibierski have gone off to standing ovations, and Roy Keane is fuming in the away dugout.
Any chance of a winning goal at Craven Cottage? Mark Bishop reporting.
We nearly had one, Ray. Fulham 1, Middlesbrough 1. How Clint Dempsey, the American, has missed from 6 yards out. Just Schwartz at a beat, and he lashed the ball past the far post. Mida, though, will remember his debut for a long time. The softest of goals after Warner fumbled the ball into his own net. McBride's goal has counted a lot. He dislocated his left knee as he shot. But Watts is off the field as well with a dislocated right shoulder. Everything to play for, one apiece.
There's quite a bit of time added on in that game because of the injuries.
Yeah.
Is someone going to sneak a winning goal there?
You just missed
have been one.
Miss of the day. Well, we said miss of the season. Clint Dempsey, it just comes across open goal, side foots it wide. I mean, that would have sealed it for them. They've been under a bit of pressure as well, Fulham.
We've seen miss of the day and we've seen dive of the day. McFadden and Steve Bennett booked him quite rightly, but we've seen two incidents that were quite wild.
And in that Reading-Everton game, after McFadden dived, he then hit the crossbar, it came down, and then Johnson hit the post after, and that was their best chance of equalising.
Goal at Ibrox, Ian Turner.
Yeah, Rangers have secured the 3 points. Jean-Claude Dashfield just on as a substitute. Chris Boyd header off the bar. Dashfield reacted first. It's Rangers 5, Falkirk 2.
Let's go to Elland Road. Steve Sutton's watching Leeds against Southend.
I think I spoke too soon, Ray, about Leeds on their way to 3 points because Southend have equalised. Their goalkeeper, Leeds goalkeeper, Anga Gren, made a good save on the line, but then the rebound came to Adam Bennett and he nodded home from very close range. It's 1-1.
Both teams relegated last season. Southend lost last Saturday. If they take a point away from Elland Road, they'll be delighted. 15 minutes to play there, of course, when we get to the final whistle time, because that game started late. To White Hart Lane, Ivan Gaskell.
Yes, 4 minutes of injury time here at White Hart Lane. It's going to feel like 4 hours to Derby and their defence because it's been a pretty torrid afternoon for them. Welcome to the Premier League. Just to clear up, Darren Bent got the final touch on the line in with Jermaine Defoe after it cannoned high into the air onto the bar. Bywater couldn't get there, but it was Bent and he will be happy, and so will the Spurs fans. 35,500 here, 4-0.
And Motherwell had a 100% record going into their home game with Kilmarnock this afternoon. Kilmarnock have got a winning goal, it would appear, through Rhian Dodds in the 90th minute. Motherwell 1, Kilmarnock 2. Still time for scorelines to change around the country. Roger Johnson, Birmingham against West Ham.
It's Birmingham 0, West Ham 1 still. Mark Noble's penalty in the second half still separating the sides. Noble had to clear off the line from a Cameron Jerome shot. And just moments ago, Robert Green has saved well from Gary McSheffrey for Birmingham. Steve Bruce has made all 3 substitutions to try and salvage something here. West Ham holding on, though. They still lead 1-0.
Final whistle starting to sound, goals still being scored, especially in the Blue Square Premier League and in Scotland. Video printer confirming Southend's equaliser away at Elland Road. To Vicarage Road in the Championship, David Garrido watching Watford against Sheffield United.
3 minutes of stoppage time here, Ray. Watford 1, Sheffield United 0. United beginning to look a little bit desperate in the final few minutes in sweeping, almost sideways rain, really. But Lee Williamson's 55th minute volley looks to have given all 3 points to Watford. It could and should have been more, though. Darius Henderson and Marlon King going close to adding to that scoreline. Michael Tong almost equalising when striking from distance on 2 occasions, and Watford still lead here by a goal to 0.
After losing last Saturday, West Bromwich Albion are going to get off the mark. Steve Lee.
Yes, West Brom 2, Preston 0. We're playing time added on. It looks a routine West Brom win, but it took them 65 minutes to finally break the deadlock. Kevin Phillips with a smart header, and then Ishmael Miller on loan from Man City with a real powerhouse of a goal. 2-0 West Brom, it looks comfortable.
Great away win last Saturday. Crystal Palace have let it all slip, though. Andy Barwell.
Well, it looks like it's going to be all smiles for Martin Allen this afternoon. His Leicester side have fought back here. Palace taking the lead through Stuart Green's free kick, but Peter Taylor's side haven't been able to deal with set pieces. Another corner kick comes in, and it's in fact an equaliser for Palace. Bundled over the line, a last-gasp effort, and it's from Clinton Morrison. Palace have equalised in stoppage time. Palace 2, Leicester 2.
Vital equalising goal for Crystal Palace. Ian Turner's had quite an afternoon at Ibrox.
Yeah, they scored in the first minute. They've scored in the last minute. It's Rangers 6, Falkirk 2, second of the afternoon. On Claude Darsfield, it's all over.
In the Championship, Plymouth against Ipswich, Hamish Marshall.
Well, we're in the first minute of 4 of stoppage time. It's still 1-1. Ipswich will feel aggrieved. Did a late penalty given against them and a substitute sent off after just 4 minutes of being on the pitch. In fact, I think the penalty was probably the only way Plymouth would have scored in this game. Their performance hasn't been great, but it's a point apiece with 3 minutes to play.
Blackpool against Bristol City, 2 of the teams promoted up into the Championship. Ian Winter reporting.
Ray, it's just finished. Blackpool 1, Bristol City 1. Blackpool denied their 13th consecutive win by Bristol City, who equalised 15 minutes from time. A fair result, a lively match and a sellout crowd to welcome Championship football back to Bloomfield Road. Blackpool 1, Bristol City 1.
Final whistle at the Majeski Stadium in the Barclays Premier League. Reading against Everton, Adam Parsons.
It's finished. Reading 1, Everton 0, and the second half really was like a cup tie, with Everton throwing absolutely everything they could at Everton, and Everton throwing even more back at them. Reading took the lead a minute before the interval thanks to Stephen Hunt, who popped up in the area to make the most of some curious defensive frailty. Up until that point, both defences have played superbly. The second half was all about Everton carving chances, Reading trying to come back on the counter-attack, James McFadden producing one of the most outrageous dives you'll ever see, when he might have done better to actually try and score a goal. Andy Johnson frustrated that he couldn't make the most of it, the chances that did come his way. Some very good performances, at least from Stephen Hunt, who was outstanding until he had to go off, and Reading are thrilled. But Everton, who were chasing a third win on the bounce, very disappointed. Reading 1, Everton 0.
A setback for Everton, but Tottenham get their season underway. Ivan Gaskell.
Spurs 4, Derby 0 after a start to the season to bring manager Martin Jol out into a cold sweat. This a game that calls for a nice cold celebratory beer. The pressure relieved in 15 extraordinary opening minutes. Steve Malbronk twice and Jermaine Jenas behaving as if Derby's defence wasn't there, which it wasn't. Derby got better after that, well they had to, but Spurs were always in complete control. Darren Bent scrambled the fourth. Price is over. Spurs 4, Derby 0.
2 wins in a few days for Wigan has really boosted their start to the season. First setback for Sunderland, Richard Askham.
Yes, Ray, Wigan 3, Sunderland 0. A comprehensive win for Wigan, for whom Heskey and Kumas were superb. Emil Heskey it was who got the opener, tapping in after a deflected cross. 2 spot kicks, both merited, converted by Lanzat, and Sibierski made it 3 in the second half. Roy Keane's side rather wilted. He'll have something to say about that. But in Craig Gordon, he has a class act. Without him, the scoreline would have been even more one-sided.
A late goal at Craven Cottage, Mark Bishop.
It's gone to Middlesbrough, Ray, and it's Lee Catamol. Tony Warner, the Fulham's reserve keeper, has had a game to forget. He squandered Mido's shot into his own net. He was slow coming off the line just a minute before you came to me. Catamol picked his spot. 2-1 now to Borough, and we're playing into the match still with 2 minutes remaining, plus stoppage time.
Middlesbrough are going to get their season underway. Let's go to Ibrox and Ian Turner.
It's finished, Ray. Rangers 7, Falkirk 2. Rangers in great form. 2 goals from Daniel Kuzan, 2 from substitute Jean-Claude Darsfield, 1 each on Stephen Whittaker and Kirk Broadfoot with his first for the club. 3 of the goals came in the last 3 pulsating minutes. Falkirk contributed greatly, left with nothing. Rangers 7, Falkirk 2.
First point for Gretna. They've drawn away this afternoon at Hearts, so 1-1. Let's hear about Dundee United against Hibs from Brian McLaughlin.
No goals, Ray, but no lack of chances. For United, Barry Robson and Noel Hunt will tonight be wondering just what they have to do to get past the Hibs keeper, Yves Makalambi, while Samama, Benjalun and Fletcher all passed up glorious opportunities for the visitors. Hibs' winning run comes to an end at Tannadice. It finished Dundee United 0, Hibs 0.
In League Two in England, a sting in the tail for Dagenham and Redbridge, making their first home game in the Football League. John Driscoll.
Yes, denied at the last, Ray. And would you believe 4 minutes into stoppage time, Wycombe's Argentinian midfielder Sergio Torres clipped on the very corner edge of the penalty area. Jermaine Easter converted the penalty, and that completed the Wycombe comeback from 2 goals down. Sam Slomer and Chris Moore had put Dagenham in a seemingly unassailable position. They deserved their lead at that stage, but Wycombe fought back. Matt Bloomfield with a close range header, plenty of pressure, and a 2-2 final scoreline.
Another draw for Macclesfield. Macclesfield 3, Milton Keynes Dons 3, if that's the way it stays the same. But Colin Cameron looks like he's equalised for the Dons. That's Paul Ince, the MK Dons manager, going back to his former club. He managed Macclesfield last season. Final whistles coming in all around the country. 1-1 at the Ricoh Arena. Coventry 1, Hull 1. Rushden and Diamonds 0. Ebbsfleet United in the Blue Square Premier 1. Stamford 2, Guiseley 3 in the Unibond League. North Ferriby United 0, Prescott Cables 4, also in the Unibond League. Football all around the country. The season is well and truly underway. To Selhurst Park, Andy Barwell.
Fantastic finish here. Clinton Morrison salvaged a point for Palace. Leicester thought they'd got their first win in 9 years at Selhurst Park after Patrick Kisnorbo looked to have snatched it. Only for Morrison, who'd had a very quiet afternoon, to poke it home from close range, deep into stoppage time. Full time, Palace 2, Leicester 2.
Hammers lost at home last Saturday. Their season is underway at St Andrews. Roger Johnson.
It's finished Birmingham 0, West Ham 1. Mark Noble's penalty giving the visitors their first points of the season and a victory they just about deserved. Birmingham keeper Colin Doyle was judged to have tripped Craig Bellamy and Noble sent him the wrong way from 12 yards. Noble had also hit a post with a first half free kick in a match played in incessant drizzle. Birmingham forced Robert Green into smart saves at the end of either half. Jaidi and McSheffrey were both denied. Dyer on his debut and Bellamy could have added to the score with late counter-attacks, but were denied by Doyle. The travelling Hammers are going home with their Premier League season now off the mark. They've beaten Birmingham 1-0.
High expectations for the Hammers, and they get 3 points this afternoon. In the Championship, Watford against Sheffield United. Both teams would expect to feature in the promotion race. David Garrido.
And it's finished Watford 1, Sheffield United 0. Ray, United may not like the fact they're in the Championship, and now they know they won't have it all their own way. To be honest, they only really sparked into life in the last 20 minutes when Michael Tong saw his free kick spilled and then cleared off the line. And by then, Lee Williamson had scored the only goal of the game for Watford, a close-range right-foot volley. Darius Henderson and Marlon King could have netted after that as well, but one goal proved enough, and Watford now have 2 wins out of 2.
Developments at Craven Cottage. Mark Bishop.
Well, there are developments, Ray. It's still Fulham 1, Middlesbrough 2, but this is going to be talked about for a long, long time. David Healy's snapshot, just watching on the monitor now. Schwarzer saved it, and the ball, yes, clearly did cross the line. Schwarzer pushed the ball out, the ball crossed the line, but Middlesbrough still lead 2-1.
Is that the way you see it? Ball definitely crossed the line? You're not sure?
Take your time, take your time.
I can't sure. And that's the difference. The referee can't take his time, and the linesman's got to make a decision as well.
I think it's over. I think the goalkeeper's in the back of the net and the ball's over the line. That's why they went mad.
Oh, because the ball hasn't bounced, it's still debatable.
Well, all the results are nearly in, so time for Tim Gudgin to confirm some of today's final scores.
Opening with the Barclays Premier League. Birmingham City 0, West Ham United 1. Fulham 1, Middlesbrough 2, that's the latest score as you heard. Newcastle United and Aston Villa kick off in a quarter of an hour, 5:15. Portsmouth 3, Bolton Wanderers 1. Reading 1, Everton 0. Tottenham Hotspur 4, Derby County 0. Wigan Athletic 3, Sunderland 0. The Coca-Cola Championship, Blackpool 1, Bristol City 1. Colchester United 2, Barnsley 2. Coventry City 1, Hull City 1. Crystal Palace 2, Leicester City 2. Norwich City 2, Southampton 1. Plymouth Argyle 1, Ipswich Town 1. Queen's Park Rangers 0, Cardiff City 2. Scunthorpe United 2, Burnley 0. Stoke City and Charlton Athletic kick off at 5:15. Watford 1, Sheffield United 0. West Bromwich Albion 2, Preston North End 0. The Coca-Cola League 1, Bournemouth 0, Huddersfield Town 1. Brighton and Hove Albion 2, Northampton Town 1. Bristol Rovers 1, Crewe Alexandra 1. Carlisle United 1, Oldham Athletic 0 was the latest score. Gillingham 0, Tranmere Rovers 2. Hartlepool United 2, Doncaster Rovers 1. Leeds United 1, Southend United 1, the latest score. Leyton Orient 1, Walsall 0. Millwall 1, Cheltenham Town 0. Swansea City 0, Nottingham Forest 0. Swindon Town 2, Luton Town 1. Yeovil Town 1, Port Vale 2. League 2, Accrington Stanley 0, Darlington 3. Barnet 1, Hereford United 2. Bury 1, Grimsby Town 1. Chesterfield 1, Stockport County 1. Dagenham and Redbridge 2, Wycombe Wanderers 2. Macclesfield Town 3, Milton Keynes Dons 3. Mansfield Town 1, Lincoln City 3. Notts County 1, Brentford 1. Rochdale 1, Chester City 2. Shrewsbury Town 1, Bradford City 0. Wrexham 2, Morecambe 1. The Clydesdale Bank Scottish Premier League, Dundee United 0, Hibernian 0. Hearts 1, Gretna 1. Motherwell 1, Kilmarnock 2. Rangers 7, Falkirk 2. St Mirren 2, Inverness Caledonian Thistle 1.
Well, let's just take a check on the late kickoffs. In the Barclays Premier League, Fulham 1, Middlesbrough 2. That game is still underway. There was quite a few injuries in that game, so the match is still being played. In Coca-Cola League 1, Carlisle United 1, Oldham Athletic 0. And Leeds United 1, Southend 1. That's a later score. Carlisle is a final score. Leeds was delayed 15 minutes because of trying to get all the supporters into the crowd. Latest from Craven Cottage now. Let's get to see what the situation is from Mark Bishop.
Still playing, Ray. Around 2 minutes left. You have stoppage time. Fulham 1, Borough 2. The game's talking point tonight on Match of the Day. Clearly that incident in the 89th minute, Healy's snapshot. Did it cross the line? The TV cameras clearly show it did, despite Schwartz's save. Fulham on a knife edge, but they've thrown this game away. They led through McBride. He was stretched off with a dislocated knee. Mido and goals from Catamol are going to give Middlesbrough their first victory.
Goal line technology is sure to be debated in tonight's Match of the Day, I would imagine. Early days, but the fans of the teams at the top of the table won't mind taking a look at the Barclays Premier League lineup as things stand. Wigan Athletic, top of the table, followed by Manchester City, who have the Manchester Derby tomorrow, of course. Chelsea still have their 100%, still have their record to follow on. Everton, Portsmouth, very early days, but among the bookmakers for relegation, successive wins have put Wigan way above some of those other teams. Very early days, of course. Let's take a look at the bottom. Two clubs looking for their first point. Bolton yet to win since Sammy Lee took charge. Villa have only played once so far this evening. They have 5:15 kick-off away at Newcastle. Promoted clubs Derby and Birmingham yet to win this season. Manchester United won't expect to be in the bottom 5 for much longer. Bottom 6. Right, all over at Craven Cottage. Let's hear from Mark Bishop.
Fulham 1, Middlesbrough 2. The game's talking point tonight. Did the ball cross the line from Healy's shot? Schwartz's save, but the TV cameras show the ball did cross that line. McBride's shot put Fulham ahead. Goals, though, from Mido on his debut. And then Catamol has given Middlesbrough their first victory of the season.
Let's just quickly go to Elland Road. Steve Sutton leads Southend.
2, Southend 1, the goal from Torre Andre Flo, a second half substitute, across from the right, everybody missed it, Flo by the penalty spot, latched it into the net, 2-1 Leeds.
Well, quite an afternoon. What sticks out for you, Garth?
Well, there's been some amazing incidents. Let's start with the one that finished the latest, and that's the game against Fulham and Middlesbrough. When I first looked at the incident, did the ball cross the line? It was difficult from the angle. Looking at it again, it clearly did. And Laurie Sanchez is going to feel very aggrieved.
What sticks out for you, Mark?
Reading, tough start for them. Manchester United and Chelsea, and got the result they wanted, a home win.
Gavin?
great for Spurs, isn't it? Under a lot of pressure, and they came out 2 early goals, and they just kept going.
Yeah, the season is off and running at a furious pace, I'm sure you'll agree. Just about time to say goodbye to BBC One viewers, but for the rest of the league tables, and to hear from the managers that are emerging from their dressing rooms as we speak, press the red button and follow the links to stay with us here in the Final Score studio. Plenty of debate and discussion still to go. 10:30 start for Match of the Day. Press the red button now, follow the links for more on today's football. This is where we close on BBC One.